Jaya Radha. Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. Today we'll be studying Canto 3, Chapter 24. And today I think we'll be, let's see what it was. Yesterday we went past 12. Brahma was speaking to Kardama. Does anybody know? 13 today. Okay? Yes. Okay. So now from the word for word. Is it here? Okay. Can you show them online, this one? etavati eva shushusha karya pitari putrakai bhadhamiti anumanyeta kauravena guroho vachaha etavatyeva shushusha karya pitari putrakai bhadhammityanumanyeta kauravena gurorvachaha etavatyeva shushusha karya pitari putrakai bhadhammityanumanyeta kauravena gurorvachaha etavatyeva shushusha karya pitari putrakai bhadhammityanumanyeta kauravena gurorvachaha. Now you take that out. This part out. This part.
Etavatyeva shushusha.
Change the speaker.
Etavatyeva shushusha. Etavatyeva shushusha. Evatyeva shushusha.
Then you change this. Oh, then.
Etavatyeva shushusha.
Etavatyeva shushruषा
Karya pitari putrakai.
Karya pitari putrakai
Padhamityanumanyeta.
Paramityanumanyeta
Guravena gurorvachaha.
Etavatyeva shushusha
Etavatyeva shushruषा
Karya pitari putrakai
Karya pitari putrakai
Badham hityanumanyeta
Padhamityanumanyeta
Gauravena gudharvachaha
Gauravena gururvachaha Etavatyeva shushruषा Karya pitari putrakehe Badhamityanumanyeta Gauravena gururvachaha Etavatyeva shushruषा Karya pitari putrakehe Badhamityanumanyeta Gauravena gururvachaha
एतावत्य एव शुश्रूषा
एतावत्येव शुश्रूषा कार्यापितरिपुत्रके
एतावत्य एव शुश्रूषा
एतावत्येव शुश्रूषा
कार्यापितृपुत्रकैः
कार्यापितरिपुत्रकेः
बाधम् इति अनुमन्येत
बाधमिति अनुमन्येत
गौरवेण गुरुर्वचः
गौरवेण गुरोर्वचः. Yes, Radha Sale Mataji. एतवत्येव शुश्रूषा कार्यापितरिपुत्रकेः बाधमिति अनुमन्येत गौरवेण गुरोर्वचः. Anyone online?
एतावत्येव शुश्रूषा
एतावत्येव शुश्रूषा
कार्यापितरिपुत्रकै
कार्यापितरिपुत्रके
बाढमित्यमनुमन्येत
बाधमित्यनुमन्येत
गौरवेण गुरुर्वचः
गौरवेण गुरोर्वचः. That's it.
Explain it. Okay, so the next part. Etavati, to the extent, to this extent. Eva, exactly. Shushusha, service. Karya, ought to be rendered. Pitari, to the father. Putrakai, by the sons. Badham iti, accepting, yes sir. Anumanyeta, he should obey. Gauravena, with due deference. Guroho, of the Guru. Vachaha, commands. Translation. Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, yes, sir. Purport. Two words in this verse are very important. One word is pitari, and another word is guru. The son or disciple should accept the words of his spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and the spiritual master order should be taken without argument. Yes. There There should be no instance which the disciple or the son says, "This is not correct. I cannot carry it out." When he says that, he is fallen. The father and the spiritual master are on the same platform because a spiritual master is the second father. The higher classes are called Dvija, twice born. Whenever there is a question of birth, there must be a father. The first birth is made possible by the actual father, and the second birth is made possible by the spiritual master. Sometimes the father and the spiritual master may be the same man, and sometimes they are different men. In any case, the order of the father or the order of the spiritual master must be carried out without hesitation, with an immediate yes. There should be no argument. That is real service to the father and to the spiritual master. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has stated that the order of the spiritual master is the life and soul of the disciples. As a man cannot separate his life from his body, a disciple cannot separate the order of the spiritual master from his life. If a disciple follows the instruction of the spiritual master in that way, he is sure to become perfect. This is confirmed in the Upanishads. The import of Vedic instruction is revealed automatically only to one who has implicit faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and in his spiritual master. One may be materially considered an illiterate man, but if he has faith in the spiritual master as well as in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the meaning of scriptural revelation is immediately manifested before him. Thank you very much. So Maharaj, we'd love to hear your comments. Do you know how to see it? Jagannath Prabhu, we'll need your assistance now. You can come up and help with this. Krishna Shravana Prabhu, if you'd like to share anything, please let us know. You have to keep it. You have to keep an eye. Okay. Okay. So we'll try to keep an eye for you, Maharaj. So personally, I'm not actually qualified to speak on this. I don't have this type of attitude. So whatever I'm speaking is simply a theory or working towards revelation or realization of these points. The one, I have been thinking about these things a lot actually, because it's something that I struggle with personally, and in general we can understand that the conditioned souls have this issue. When somebody is positioned above us in terms of control. The word Isha means controller. So there's a verse, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says that na janam, na dhanam, na sundarim, kavitava jagadisha kamaye, that you are the master of the universe. You are the controller, the Isha of the universe. And Ishvara, right? We know that Krishna, according to all the Vedic scriptures, and is known as the Ishvara Parama Krishna, the supreme controller. But due to his will, he empowers many other subordinate controllers to act under his will. And ultimately, the material world, even Maya, should be respected in that it's being controlled by Krishna. And I was listening to a lecture from Srila Prabhupada where he said that when we learn to respect Krishna, then we actually learn to respect everybody. And actually, if we have disrespect for the living entities or for somebody in this material world, that means actually we're lacking respect for Krishna. It's not possible to disrespect somebody in this material world if we actually respect Krishna. It's not possible. Because the Lord is the supreme controller of everything, and every one of his living entities are part and parcel of him. So if we have a disrespectful attitude towards anybody, then there's no question of having full respect or true respect or authentic respect for Krishna. And this is what all of us are working on. We're working on actually developing real respect, real appreciation, real duty, real service, and after a lot of that, then real love. You know? And the lesson or the means by which Krishna teaches the living entities how to respect himself is say, act like this person is me. Treat this person as good as myself. And actually, even mystically, he says in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam himself, he says, as soon as somebody takes a Diksha, I think of him like myself, actually. That Vaishnava, that person. Of course, Srila Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita has described that there is the Kanishtadikari. Well, even in different words, he speaks about three grades of devotees. One who chants the holy name should be respected at least within the mind. And one who has taken Diksha and is following the rules and regulations under a spiritual master, we should offer respectful obeisances, which means that we literally bow down to that person. You know? We show them, you are my master, actually, because you're actually a Vaishnava, and you're going ahead in your service to Krishna. And then another level of devotee is one who is always engaged in the Lord's service and has been very strictly following the rules and regulations. And that person, we should seek their association. So, such a person, right, we should seek their association. Here's the thing. Actually, by the mercy of the spiritual master, all of these people can become initiating spiritual masters. You know? On the order of the spiritual master, then they can start taking disciples. But according to their level of potency or the potency of the gurus which have empowered them, then they can actually elevate their disciples. We're fortunate because Srila Prabhupada has given the order that, we continue this Guru Parampara system. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself has asked us to become a teacher to everyone we meet. Now, we're not going to get into the details of that exactly. But this is saying that the Father and the spiritual master, we should obey the command. So obedience is scary. And actually there's a whole genre of media and books, sci-fi about obedience and forced obedience and you could say oppression or subjugation. We have historical references that are burned into our mind about concentration camps and various types of oppression. And such things are happening on this world. Such things are happening even now. And unfortunately, or fortunately, we have something to do about it, and we can stoke or increase the ocean of bliss by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra everywhere we go and teaching everybody the instructions of Krishna. So this order to preach is actually the you could say the important order, you could say, because when we preach, right, on the order of the spiritual master, then we have a chance to bring others to the devotional service of the Lord. And when we bring others to the devotional service of the Lord is very pleased with us. And by the Lord being pleased with us, then we become purified and we actually become real devotees more and more. And that's why Prabhupada, in so many quotes and lectures and Bhagavatam purports, Gita, he speaks about this process of preaching and how this is the real work, And at the same time, all the work in this movement is preaching because all the work is focused around preaching. That's the idea. All the work is preaching because the whole work is focused around preaching. So the concept is work. We have to work. So we have to be active. And how should we work? We should work under some guidance. We should work under some direction. And for there to be guidance and direction, there has to be submission. So the concept here is not this verse is not speaking about the qualification of the spiritual master. This verse is speaking about the qualification of the disciple. And actually this is very interesting that the concept here is that because the Lord has made an arrangement for you to be born in a certain family, it's not by any chance. It's simply by the Lord's arrangement through the agency of the demigods and so on and so forth. But ultimately it's His will. And then your benefit, your advantage is to obey that Father of yours. And when one takes to the devotional path and he has an inclination for knowing the Supreme Lord and surrendering to the Supreme Lord, even though he has no idea what the Supreme Lord is or who he is or anything about surrender, but something the Lord sees within the heart is a turning of the face towards the Lord. Then he sends the spiritual master into that person's life. So, yet again, here I am. I'm a servant of the circumstances. I didn't decide. In one sense, I didn't decide. The Lord sent me the spiritual master. And for me to have any other conception is actually just foolishness, because I have no power at all, practically. So for me to pretend like it's my doing, it's immature. That yes, I chose the spiritual man. In one sense, we volunteer But this is all due to the arrangement of the Lord. And then say somebody comes to association and then they go to another association. Who allowed them to do that? Who gave them the power to get in the car? Who gave them the power to buy the plane? Like that. So ultimately everything is the Lord's will, and there's no way out of that. And therefore the devotee who's in Krishna consciousness, they know. Whatever it may be, whatever choice I seem to make is actually the will of the Lord. And therefore it behooves us to practice. The Mohammedans actually, they have this built into their culture. Even the lay people. We know that Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, it's said that he would say things like Krishna willing. And Prabhupada quoted that my Guru Maharaj will never say, I will do such and such. He will say, Krishna willing, this and this. And actually the Mohammedans, practically the lay person, he's not very serious about practice in one sense. They all say like that. Krishna willing, Allah willing. They say, if you give him a compliment, they say it was the will of God. It was the will of God. It's not my will. All glories be to God. They say like that over and over. We were hearing. If we want to preach to them, then we can use these things because that's how they taught. That's nectar. That's Krishna consciousness, Imagine if the devotees, we also said, yes, Krishna willing, Krishna willing, I will do this and I will do that. And I give you a compliment, you say, glories to God. We actually do that. We say, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, right? We say, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, to Gaurnitai. So this is actually the idea. It's true. So, we were given a spiritual master. And actually, it's a matter of faith in Krishna to have faith in the spiritual master. If I don't have faith that Krishna has made the arrangements in my life to lead me to a certain sangha and certain authorities, right? And certain spiritual master ultimately, right? Then, if I don't have faith that Krishna has his hand and he knows what's best for me, right? If I doubt him, then I also doubt the subordinate people that he works through. But in my mind, I'm actually maintaining some illusion that I know what Krishna wants, I know how to please Krishna, and I don't have to listen to this person. Exactly. I can make a show out of being a disciple. I know what it should look like. I'm a good actor, right? But when it actually comes down to implicitly accepting the order of the spiritual master, then that's very difficult. But this is the point that Brahma is making. He's saying, just do it. And Prabhupada is describing the purport, you're going to be perfect. You're going to be perfect if you do that, if you have that attitude, that yes man. Prabhupada has some lecture like that, yes man, And here he says, yes sir. Jagannath Prabhu was doing that for a while, yes sir. And this, but the essence is, aye. And I was reading a letter from Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada was saying, it's not that we, he wrote this thing, maybe I can read it verbatim. But Jagannath Prabhu, can you bring the Fortunate Souls from my bag? He's talking about militant. The devotees, especially in certain sanghas and certain communities, they have a militant consciousness. Militant, of course I was never in the military, but the air of the word, right? As far as I know, neither was Prabhupada. But the word gives a feeling of strictness and obedience, right? And it's usually used in a condescending way. This militant word. I think I was jumping around, so I may not be able to find it. Yeah. Another time. I'll try to find the reference and share with everybody. I can keep it with me, probably. So, yeah, it's going to come now. Yeah, I think... okay. So, Prabhupada was describing, I'll paraphrase, that it's not like we're just, we're doing this for no reason. We're doing this so we can be purified. We have a militant attitude of obedience towards the order of the spiritual master and the regulations which he set for us, because without that, my heart will not be purified of greed and lust and envy of the Lord. Lust for the Lord's property, greed for the Lord's property, envy of the Lord's power, envy of the Lord's position. You know? And that's my main problem, is I turned away from the Lord because I didn't like it that he had it and I didn't have it. And this is the same thing, and we can see it comes out. If somebody has any good qualities, we can see. And envy manifests differently on different levels. With superiors, it manifests in a certain way. With peers, it manifests in another way. With juniors, it manifests in another way. Narada Muni actually has described that with seniors, we should obey, right? If we just obey, then that's a good step. With peers, we should be friends, and with subordinates, we should be merciful. And there's institutional superiority, which is observed in the Vaishnava circles. You know, there's etiquette that goes with this program, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was pleased with the etiquette to be followed. He even himself, he offered great respects to the sannyasis and things like that. He saw them, yes, actually, according to the externals, you know, they are my superiors, and internally, they need my teachings, they need my mercy. So that's very amazing. Is externally, you showed them great respect, but then, yeah, Prakashananda Saraswati. Right. Yeah, Rupukna Prabhu was saying that he showed so much humility to Prakashananda Saraswati. But he also knew that I have something to teach him. I am superior to him according to the spiritual conceptions. He needs to learn from me. If I don't give him my mercy, how will he learn? So there's something very interesting about this, that, we can follow the etiquettes of the externals and also be merciful. And that's the thing about preaching Krishna consciousness, is we talk Krishna consciousness with our seniors, we talk Krishna consciousness with our peers, we talk Krishna consciousness with our juniors. So we don't have to change anything, what we speak, and that's mercy, actually. Whatever mercy I have, whatever mercy I have to share that I've been given, I just preach Krishna consciousness, or I speak about Krishna, or in a Krishna conscious way, and that's the best I can do, That's the most mercy I can do, is tell what I've been told, you know. But if I do it in a sensitive way, then the message can be heard. So, like I said, whatever I spoke now is simply a theory. You know, I don't have this attitude, and we'll try. We pray to Shri Gaura Nitai and Srila Prabhupada that if they so desire, we can all develop this implicit faith in the spiritual master and the Lord, and always become a yes man for the spiritual master. Thank you for considering our request. Hare Krishna. Jagannath Prabhu.
Haribol. So, I have two questions. Is it okay if I ask those two?
You can ask.
Okay. So the first one is, what if the father is either ignorant of the Vedic regulations, or evil, or both? Do you think we should still follow them?
What's your second question?
Second question is, why do we disrespect lower living entities like Shudras, animals?
Nice questions. We can think about them and we can discuss later. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the Sambal devotees.